Hi everyone, it's Athena here from Courage Coaching. The topic of today's video is going to be a little bit different to what I have done in the previous videos, and it isn't going to be focusing on anything to do with narcissistic abuse. It does, however, focus on a family dynamic that can become quite dysfunctional. It focuses on the relationship and the dynamics in a family when there is a special needs child. And the thing I want to focus on today is from the point of view not of the special needs child, but of the sibling of that child. Now, I am a sibling of a special needs brother, and something that people never really seem to talk about is that, yes, it's hard having a special needs child within a family, and it's very hard on the parents. But nobody ever talks about how it is for the other sibling, the one that doesn't have the special needs, the one that was born normal and has to deal with the fact that they have a special needs sibling and that their parents may put all the focus on that sibling. So before I go into the disadvantages of having a special needs sibling from the point of view of the other sibling, I would like to talk about the advantages of having a special needs brother or sister. Now, when you grow up with somebody who has special needs, whether that's your older brother or sister or younger, you learn to become more empathetic. You learn to almost want to protect your sibling, and you develop a sort of sensitivity towards others who have difficulties in life. You will become more resilient in understanding the complex needs of somebody who has special needs because of your sibling. And what also happens is that you become more responsible. And these are all good things. These are all things that could help you in your adulthood. They will make you a better person because you will become generally more understanding. You will stick up for people that are possibly being bullied. You will stick up for people with special needs or people with disabilities if you see that they are treated unfairly. So there are a lot of advantages of having a brother or sister that has special needs. Now, there are unfortunately disadvantages when you grow up with a special needs brother or sister. The first thing I want to talk about is that the other sibling feels a lot of the time that they have to be perfect because they see how much their parents struggle looking after the special needs sibling. They see how maybe disappointed their parents feel when their special needs sibling isn't able to do things normally. And for that reason, they feel like they have to make up for that, and it feels like a really big burden to them. They also feel that if they have problems and they have needs and they have worries and they share those with the parent, that they're going to further burden them when they already have so much to do by looking after their special needs sibling. So they will always hide away from their feelings. They will always push their feelings aside, and they will always try and do really well at school. And when they don't, they'll feel horrible because they're letting their parent down. Now, like I said before, the normal sibling a lot of the time struggles with expressing their true feelings. When they see that their parent is caring for their brother or sister, they sometimes feel very resentful towards the parents because all their time is taken up by the special needs sibling, and they don't have as much time to spend on them. So they have feelings of resentment, they have feelings of jealousy, and most of the time they are not able to express these feelings. Sometimes the normal sibling also feels really angry towards the special needs sibling. They may feel embarrassed if the special needs sibling does certain things in public that have an effect on the sibling's self-esteem or ability to make friends. It is very healthy in a family where there is a special needs child that both the parents and the other sibling are able to grieve for the loss of not having a healthy sibling. And when you have a child that isn't able to reach certain milestones that a normal child who doesn't have disabilities or special needs is able to, then it is actually quite a sad thing, and it is healthy for them to grieve, and the other sibling has to grieve too, but sometimes they don't get a chance to do that. They just have to be the strong one. They just have to deal with the fact that that's just how it is. Sometimes the home environment can be a source of constant stress for the normal sibling because of all the non-stop struggles that the special needs sibling has, and the struggles that the parent have. And sometimes they may feel more comfortable going to a friend's house, or they may be more comfortable being at school, because at least then they're not in this constant stressful environment of the special needs sibling needing all this attention from the parents, or needing medical support, or needing a carer coming in to enable the parents to have a break. Now, a very important one is that the normal sibling in a family can have their feelings minimized. So when the other sibling has problems, the parent usually doesn't give them as much attention as they would to the problems of the special needs sibling. It isn't fair for the parent to be treating one sibling differently to the other, because one has more complex needs and the other doesn't. The other sibling's needs are just as important. And when the parent doesn't listen and doesn't comfort them, then this can be very destructive for the other sibling. They may not have confidence, or they may not be able to express their feelings in a healthy way, and they learn that it is better to just not talk about their feelings and to push them aside, or to not talk about the problems. And that isn't very healthy for a child that's developing. Another thing that the other sibling feels is isolated. When the parents and the family are mostly focused on the special needs sibling, the other child can feel very isolated and very alone. They may feel that they have nobody to talk to when they're sad. They may feel that their feelings aren't important. They may feel lonely because they see that their friends have normal brothers and sisters, and they aren't able to understand them because their life is different. Another important aspect of being the other sibling of someone with special needs is that a lot of the time they may have to deal with other people making fun of their sibling. They may deal with bullying or other people's intolerance towards their sibling. And that can be very difficult because they have to be a grown-up and they have to stand up for their sibling and tell others to stop being nasty to them or to stop bullying them. So they become very protective of their sibling. Another thing is that the other sibling can feel parentified. So because they spend a lot of time caring for their special needs sibling, they almost become like a mini parent. And sometimes when the tasks are too difficult for the parents, or the parents need a break, then they will take on the role of looking after the special needs sibling. And they may be expected to help out a lot. And a lot of the time they feel enormous pressure because of this. No child should have to take on adult roles, and unfortunately this is very common in a family where there is a special needs brother or sister. Lastly, the other sibling usually ends up feeling like they are having to rely on themselves all the time. They feel that they have to be serious, or that they have to have an adult way of thinking about things, because sometimes they're allocated a lot of responsibilities in regards to their special needs sibling. So it's very hard for the other sibling to be a kid, to have fun, to play, to let go, especially if there aren't other family members around that can maybe support the other sibling, or if they don't really have a social life or a lot of friends. It might be that they are more isolated because they're having to stay at home to help the parents deal with a special needs sibling. So they don't feel like they are able to be a kid. They feel like they have to grow up really fast, and that really isn't fair. So that's the end of the video. I know this may not be relevant to a lot of you, but this is something that's very important to me because it's something that I've experienced growing up, and I know how much it can affect people that have their feelings sort of ignored, or they feel that they have to take on a lot of responsibility due to their special needs brother or sister. When I discovered a book that was written on this topic from the point of view of the other sibling, and I read it, I cried the first time I read it. I finally felt validated, and that all the feelings I had were okay, and that the struggles I had were okay. And that even though my parents, I guess in ways, did the best they could, it was important for me to realize that a lot of what they did was wrong. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. I really appreciate you taking the time. I hope that you found it useful, And if you think it may help somebody that you know who also has experienced what it's like to live with a special needs brother or sister, then please feel free to share the video. I hope you have a good week. Take care and see you soon. Bye.